The consumer revolution was the wide-ranging growth in consumption and new attitudes toward consumer goods that emerged in the cities of northwestern Europe in the second half of the 18th century. This created a new society where people derived their self-identity from their consuming and working practices. New opportunities allowed people to choose from a wide variety of consumer goods, which led to the development of new notions of individuality and self-expression. Increased demand was a result of increased supply and new techniques to incite demand. Such techniques included marketing campaigns, fancy bouquets, and advertising the patronage of royal princes. Shrewd entrepreneurs made fashionable clothing seem more desirable, while legions of women entering the textile and needle trades made it cheaper. Colonial economics again played an important role in lowering the cost of materials such as cotton and dyes. Cheaper copies of elite styles allowed the working people to follow fashion for the first time. This new trend blurred the social boundaries between different social groups and classes. New gender distinctions in dress took effect as well. Men were wearing brilliant colors and voluptuous fabrics in comparison to the normal black suits that they used to wear. This was an aspect of the increasing rigid boundaries between appropriate men and women behavior. Changes in outward appearance led to changes in inner spaces. In the 18th century, rents rose sharply, which led to families attributing specific functions to specific rooms. This new consumption culture allowed for new levels of convenience and comfort, which raised the standards of living during the 18th century. Standards of bodily hygiene also improved as people moved away from simply using new clothes and perfumes to actually taking hot baths in designated areas. Even though the 18th century set up the foundation for the creation of the mass consumption society during the 19th century, the developments during that era were mainly concentrated in large cities in northwestern Europe and North America.
Necessary and heavily depended upon. This gave rise to just price, which was a policy made by the lower classes believing that prices should be fair, protecting both consumers and producers. Vegetables were also a common good among the poor and easily accessible. Fruit, milk, and meat were limited resources for peasants, but small traders and artisans had many more options when it came to food because of their higher wealth. The upper class was at the top tier, as they only dined with the most luxurious foods there were. Because they wanted to imitate this high style of living, imported food became popular among the lower classes as it was affordable but still. The 18th century birthed a consumer revolution across Europe, in which people derived their self-identity as much from what they consumed as where they worked. This higher demand for goods inspired merchants to start advertising their products, which increased the demand even more. Fashion became an important outlet for expression, which increased the style of clothing and lowered the cost to cater to all classes. This increase in self-consideration made people more hygienic and private, seeking new levels of comfort and convenience.